What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Renegade Animation on the Renegade Pop Culture Podcast Network. My name is Mike. I will be your host for this evening. Joining me, as always, is my co-captain, Cameron.
Howdy, y'all.
And boy, do we have a fun episode for you today. For better or for worse, we have reviews for the Tom and Jerry movie that just dropped on HBO Max, along with series reviews for the anime High Rise Invasion. We're finally talking about Kid Cosmic. I know we're a little late to the party in that one. And Close Enough Season 2. But first, we have a whole lot of news to get through. This is what happens when we take a week off. All right, Cam, what do we got?
Well, first off, this is what happens when you're in a state that gets hit by a snowstorm and we were not fully prepared for it. But I won't get into that. And I'm fine, by the way. Everything's getting back to normal. So Harley Quinn Season 3 has begun recording. So we're going to see it maybe summer or in the near or later this year for a new season, or who knows? We'll see. It'll be at the beginning of 2022, depending on how long the animation is going to take.
That would be a fun way to kick off the year.
Yeah, no, I can't wait. I love the 2 seasons that we've gotten so far, and that's really it. So Aardman, the famous stop motion studio, is greenlighting a CGI TV series called Lloyd of the Flies. It's going to be a series aimed at 7 to 11-year-olds. And it's going to be a 52 episode, 11-minute each package. And it's going to be a mix of CGI and 2D animation. And it will be their first CGI series produced entirely from the studio's creative hub at its Bristol HQ. Lloyd of the Flies follows the adventures of Lloyd B. Fly, a housefly and the middle child of 453. Lloyd lives with his parents, his little sister Peebee, and their 225 maggot siblings inside a compost bin they call home. In the series, Lloyd and Peebee are often accompanied by Lloyd's best friend, Abacus Woodlouse, an eccentric tag-along cornea butterfly. Together, they explore the strange world beyond the compost bin, where there is no shortage of lessons for Lloyd to very nearly learn. It's created and directed by Matt Walker, and Aardman's Sarah Cox will act as executive creative director. So, are you mad that a stop motion studio is working on CGI? I'm not. I don't care.
They've already worked on CGI. If you remember Flushed Away back in, 2006.
Yeah, I mean, technically DreamWorks did all that, but still, they still had to make sure it got the right look for like CGI stop motion. And of course, their work in what was it, Arthur Christmas? That Christmas film Sony put out in 2011 that everyone loves, but nobody saw in theaters.
Oh yeah, good stuff.
That was a good one. So, Fox has picked up a 80s British cartoon for the rights to make for a new series. The, I guess, iconic Banana Man. Well, it's going to be from Beano Studios, and it's teaming up with Bento Box. Golly, Bento Box is getting all the work. And, well, I did not watch this show. This was like literally past my time. Or before my time, I should say.
Yeah, I have next to no recollection of Banana Man.
This must have been just kind of like it was super popular in one area of the world and then just not anywhere else. I kind of dig the art style from the picture that's in this article, but we'll see. I don't know if they're aiming for like a childlike audience or a more adult audience. I kind of think it is, since it's Fox, and but well, we'll have to see. So how many anime series can Netflix make? Not enough. They are making a Dota Dragon animated series based off of the game from Valve, the people behind Portal and Half-Life and such, called Dota Dragon's Blood. That's coming out on March 25th. It's going to be an 8-episode series, and the upcoming fantasy series tells the story of Davion, a renowned dragon knight devoted to wiping the scourge from the face of the world. Following encounters with a powerful ancient Eldworm, as well as the noble Princess Marana on a secret mission of her own, Davian becomes embroiled in events much larger than he could have ever imagined.
You know why
What?
I'm excited for this, despite how admittedly generic it kind of sounds?
Shoot.
It's Studio Mir.
Yeah, and it's going to be showrunner, and the showrunner and executive producer is Ashley Edward Miller, who worked on X-Men First Class, Thor, and Black Sails. And yeah, it's going to be made by Studio Mir, and they're incredible. So there's like not much to talk about. The teaser looked pretty promising, despite it being like we said, generic. But that's not enough. Netflix nabbed the rights to the Chinese animated feature New Gods Neza Reborn, which is the newest feature from Light Chaser, the studio behind 2019's White Snake, which, if you remember our Annecy video episode, we talked about this one and how it's like a mix of like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Final Fantasy VII with this interesting steampunk or diesel punk like motif and very action heavy oriented sequences. And well, I'm glad about that. Netflix is, for better or worse, putting their they know the pulse of the animation scene and what looks good and what's getting a lot of hype. I don't think this is one of those cases where it's like, oh, we got this one because nobody else wanted it.
Yeah, Netflix is really getting into the animation business, and for the most part, the stuff that we've covered has been like really good to incredible.
Yeah, no, it's going to be great, and I can't wait to do an episode about that. Since due to the snowstorm encounter that I had to deal with, we had to push a Chinese animation special that we are going to do way back. So I'm thinking we'll do that in April to celebrate that film's release, and we'll talk about like Neza, White Snake, Monkey King, The Hero is Back, and Zhang Jia. Just to have kind of like a good sample size of what's new and what's coming out.
I'm looking forward to that episode.
Yeah, great. So Netflix, with some more news, are going to adapt Lupita Nyong'o's children's book Soul Way. Or I hope I said that correctly. And it follows Solway, a child who has skin darker than anyone she knows. She was born with the color of midnight, the book begins. And all she wants to do, wants is to be beautiful and bright. One night she is visited by a shooting star sent by the night and embarks on a magical journey where she learns the eye-opening story of the sisters night and day. And the book tells a story about colorism, self-esteem, and learning that true beauty comes from within. And Netflix is going to turn it into an animated musical feature. And, well, that sounds good to me. Lupita is really good. I love I love her as an actress.
Oh yeah.
I haven't heard about this book, but I'm sure I bet it's great.
If Lupita Nyong'o is involved as like a producer, um, then I have no doubt that this is going to be something amazing. My question is, because it's a musical, I want to know like who's involved in that, like in that aspect.
Unfortunately, there's no information about that right now, so we'll
But
just have to.
but we will certainly keep an eye on this one.
Yeah, yeah. So more Netflix news. I guess Arnold will be back because they're making a Terminator anime series, and it's going to be produced by Production IG. Well, all right. They're teaming up with Skydance for the series, and okay. I mean, I guess it'll be interesting to see where they take it because I haven't seen them, but from what I remember, the last two Terminator films did not do well.
I
So
really like Dark Fate.
I hear people like the most recent one, so
Yeah, that's
like the latest one. Even though I hear also people are like, I love it, but that kind of thing. But I know, but I hear a lot. But I hear it's kind of growing more fondness as time has gone on. It just didn't do well when it was released 2 years ago, which is a shame because it sounded pretty cool. But like I said, I haven't seen it, so. So Apple Plus, we're going to get into some Apple Plus news for a moment. Tom Moore and Ross Stewart have talked about what they're doing next for Apple TV Plus. And they're going to, like, with not a whole lot of information out, they're going to make an epic animated series, which I'm down.
same.
Like, it's not like Cartoon Saloon has not made TV series. They make a very cute Netflix series called Puff and Rock, and they're going to be making a Disney Plus TV series. I think
Viking School.
yeah, Viking School in the sometime in the future. I don't know um when it's going to happen, but we'll just have to see. Um, so Mike, do you remember Blazing Samurai is still coming out, and it's actually coming out this time?
Oh boy, the boy who cried, Blazing Samurai.
So we got our first image. Well, depending on which article you read, there are two images, but the one from Animation Magazine only has one. For some reason they say two, but there's not two. Anyway, so it's going to, of course, head to the EFM next week, and well, it's still set to come out next year. And well, I mean, it's going to depend on how all this looks in motion, but it looks fine. I like. There's not much to say. It's a still image, and I can't tell if that's CGI or that's just pretty solid paint work. Like, there's just not much here.
Yeah,
But
this one's really gonna depend on like that first teaser or teaser trailer. I know this is directed by the Lion King. It's well, either directed or just produced by the Lion King director Rob Minkoff. So the jury's out on this one.
yeah, no. But yeah, we'll have to see. I know, like, yeah, I don't know. So Netflix, so we're gonna go back to them one more time. They are making a new Transformers series, and they are getting that, and we have our first look at the new My Little Pony film. So the Transformers series is called Transformers Bots, which looks kind of interesting because half of that stuff doesn't look like something from Transformers, but obviously it's a different incarnation of it all.
It kind of looks like chibi Transformers.
That's really what it looks like. And like, there's a football, there's a baseball one, there's, I guess, a loaf of bread transformer, and I get a soccer ball one, a rock. There's also like a cupcake one on the image. That's going to be interesting. It's called a 20 episode animated comedy following the mischievous little transformer robots, based on Hasbro's popular toy line of the same name. BotBots, released in late 2018, are 1-inch collectible characters that can change from an ordinary object into a little robot in just 3 to 5 easy steps. So Kevin Burke and Chris Doc Wyatt of Spider-Man, Transformers, Rescue Bot Academy, and Stretch Armstrong and the Flex Fighters will serve as producers and showrunners. Well, it looks cute. I don't really have much else to say. It's probably going to be for very little kids, so it's like we might just skip this one to talk about like that the other Netflix miniseries that is actually going to be finished in July. So
good to know.
Yeah, so we'll take a look at it then. And then we have My Little Pony Generation 5, and it's going to be a series and a film. So here's the plot synopsis. The pony world of Equestria has lost its magic. Shocker. Friendship and harmony may have been replaced by paranoia and mistrust, and ponies now live separated by species. Yikes. Sunny, a feisty and idealistic young Earth pony, is convinced there's still hope for this divided world, but her slightly misguided and often hilarious efforts to change hearts and minds have led to her being branded a misfit. When Sunny befriends a lost unicorn named Izzy, who wanders innocently into the Earth pony town of Maritime Bay. Oh, that's kind of cute. I like that. The town has had enough. Izzy and Sunny must embark on an epic adventure that will include a daring jewel heist, outrageous conspiracy theories, elaborate musical numbers, and the world's cutest flying Pomeranian. Their adventures will take them to faraway lands and force them to challenge the status quo by facing their fears and making new friends out of old enemies. The world Sunny has dreamed of her entire life could finally become a reality as Sunny and her newfound friends fight to prove that even little ponies can make a big difference. In the computer animated series, the adventures of Sunny, Star Scout, and her friends will continue. So the film's basically a pilot. And for CGI, like the first image, it doesn't look that bad. Like, you could look for worse transitions from 2D to CGI. Like, we'll talk a little bit about that soon. But it looks cute. I mean, that's all I can say about it.
Yeah. And that synopsis though is kind of a lot.
It's loaded. And it's just like, oh, what's the worst that could possibly happen? Everyone is segregated by species, and it's like, yikes.
Yeah.
Not that like My Little Pony never like with the series from the last decade didn't do anything like that or talk about stuff like that, but it was always like not as dark as that. Well, we'll have to see how these go, and if we'll actually talk about the movie and show. I don't think we'll talk about the show. We'll probably talk about the movie, but we'll have to see, or if we might label it as a TV movie. But we'll see.
Yeah, we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Yeah.
But for now, we got a lot of HBO Max.
So
Warner Media stuff to talk about.
Yeah, so let's get to that, and then we'll get to the Paramount stuff next. So, this is what happens when 2 weeks pass, and everyone else decides to say, hey, I have a big Disney stream also. So Warner Media is going to make a new preschool family-friendly section for Cartoon Network called Cartoonito. And, well, here the new series green lights. So there's Bees Block, which is going to be made by the Sesame Workshop. So it's a preschool comedy series. Bugs Bunny's Builders, which is the working title. So it's like so it'll be produced by Warner Brothers Animation and built on the solid comedic foundation of the iconic Looney Tunes. Bugs Bunny Builders brings the wackiness, humor, and slapstick we've grown to love to a new preschool audience. At Acme Construction Company, Bugs Bunny and Lola Bunny manage a crew of builders that, quite frankly, should not be anywhere near a construction site. However, by working together as a team, Daffy Duck, Porky Pig, Tweety, and others use their tools and wild vehicles to pull off some of the looniest construction jobs ever. Sounds cute. It like if it doesn't talk down to little kids, that'll be kind of a admirable element about it. Because
Hmm.
that's kind of the thing. I feel like that's always a problem when I hear preschool. It's like I'm not saying that you got to treat them and like use very big and words or complex elements to it to a little kid to a preschooler, but you still want to treat them like kids. So, and then new series include Jessica's Big Little World, which is a spinoff of the award-winning Craig of the Creek series, which we haven't seen, but I keep hearing great things about, and I've seen a few clips of that show, and it sounds great. Well, it looks great.
Yeah,
So
I think we will talk about it soon.
yeah, so so there'll be a Tom and Jerry Jr. So I'm assuming it's like a series of animated musical shorts introducing the beloved cat and mouse duo to preschoolers with an educational twist. Well, we're going to talk about Tom and Jerry and see how much that works or sounds good, but there could be worse things with Tom and Jerry. We've seen it.
Hmm.
They've also acquisition and are going to be co-producing stuff with Lady Bird Lou, which is produced by Nine Stories award-winning studio Brown Bag Films. Lady Bird Lou explores everyday dramas in the world of a 3-year-old with a brand new social life. The new series is created and directed by Nikki Fallon, who did Octonauts and Vampirina, and inspired by his mother's experience running a preschool. Oh, that's cute. Mush Mush and the Mushables. That's definitely a title. So it's a foreign production produced by Francis La Cabanet and Belgium's Thurstar in co-production with Cake. The series follows the endearing Mushable community as they embark on a journey to put the fun back into fungi. So that sounds like a children's friendly version of the Fungies.
Interesting.
I think
That first image looks pretty cute.
Oh, it looks very cute. Oh gosh, and then the thing that got everyone super mad: Thomas and Friends, All Engines Go, from Mattel Television, and we've gone from the live actions, practical effects and trains to CGI, and now we're going to flat 2D flash animation, and and it's aimed at a younger audience.
Naturally.
And, yeah, and it's produced in vibrant 2D animation in partnership with Chorus Entertainment's Nelvana Studios. The show features a core cast of 5 young engines: Thomas, his best friend Percy, rival Diesel, the adventurous world traveler Nia, and an all-new electric high-speed rail train, Kana. It looked cute from the teaser. Like, I'm not as upset about it. It's like it's not made for me. It's made for a younger, new audience. And like the old series is not going anywhere. If you want to watch the old series where Ringo Starr was the storyteller, you can do that. It's fine. Just let the little kids enjoy their new version of Thomas. It's not made for you. And then so that this is interesting. Seeing what Cartoon Network try again with a preschool block, which did not work out for them, is kind of interesting to me. Like, what's your take on that? Because they've tried this before and it didn't work out for them.
I'm hoping that they've learned from the mistakes of Tickle You and are actually putting more effort into Cartoonito.
Yeah. But because I get it, they want to make a new they want their Nick Jr. because I think that's exactly what happened. Was Nick Jr. was a huge hit with like Blue's Clues and Dora the Explorer, and it's like, hey, I want a slice of that cake. So But that's not all. Cartoon Network basically is going through a new iteration, and that means that they're going to have both animation content and live action content since they're trying that pony again. So, excuse me. So they're going to make some Ben 10 specials, some more Craig of the Creek, the upcoming Gremlins: The Secret of the Mogwai series, and apparently it's going to have a season 2. But let's not bury the lead here. Infinity Train Book 4 is happening.
Woo! Yes.
Golly. And Owen Dennis was talking about this on Twitter because it's like, people are like, wait, you knew you were getting a 4th season and you couldn't say anything? And it's like, yeah, it's called a non-disclosure agreement. Because for people who may not know, you sign those, and and if you leak out anything that's not pre-made into those press junkets, they have every right to fire you, blacklist you, and sue you. So I don't blame Owen for being quiet, even though it drove everyone insane. So,
yeah,
like, legal stuff really sucks. I was a QA tester. I had to sign those every single time I signed up for a new video game, testing contract. So do not get mad at him or anyone on the team for having to be quiet about this and to keep their jobs. The whole state of the animation industry, we can talk about at another time. Anyway, so they have a new series called Jade Armor, in production with Teen Toe and featuring a talented all-female creative team. Jade Armor centers on the martial arts loving Lan Yun, an unlikely teenage heroine who must learn the ancient secrets of her family and uncover the unexpected, all while navigating life as a teen. It looks cute. It's probably aimed for a young audience, probably not for really any of us, or for like a whole.
I am so curious to check it out. It might turn out to be really fun.
Yeah, no, we'll have to see. They're doing a reboot of Total Drama Island with two more seasons. And were you around, or like were you paying attention to when this was like one of the biggest animation things?
I never got into it. I've only seen like clips in passing.
It was tough. It was weird because it was like it was doing enough to make fun of the whole reality survivor competition stuff, but you always got the feeling that it could have been smarter. But you could tell this was made for just an overall audience. But it'll be interesting to see where they take it. And we'll have to see. I don't think we're going to actually talk about it, though. Maybe if we make a Patreon and say like, hey, if we get to here, Mike and I will talk about the entire Total Drama series.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. It's just, you know what I'm saying. It's like there's a lot to talk about with that one franchise, so we'd have to make it pretty special. So, and there's also a 3rd season of Victor and Valentino, which I need to watch because I remember liking the pilot and I remember enjoying the first episode I watched. And I saw a clip of of an episode where you find out that Danny Trejo is a guest star on there, and I love Danny Trejo. So,
oh boy, that would be a fun show to cover in October.
Yeah, I think let's do that. That'll be fun. The Amazing World of Gumball movie got greenlit, which is a continuation off the super acclaimed show with probably one of the most varied animation styles ever seen in animation. So I'm very happy. I'm curious to check that out. Maybe we'll do an episode about that also. So another series is called Family Mashup. A modern day the Brady Bunch meets Pitch Perfect when a single mom and 3 sons and a single dad with 3 daughters fall in love and get married, despite their kids being in 2 fiercely competing a cappella groups. The music filled. Oh, it's a live action series. We're not going to cover this, but that's a shame.
Man, because it sounded so great too.
I know, and it's like maybe y'all will talk about this in a streaming episode, but oh man, just make it. I don't get why they're doing live action again. That failed on them the first time when you're called Cartoon Network. You don't go to Cartoon Network for live action stuff, and it's not. And I know like the stuff that Disney and Nickelodeon do are very popular. They're also not good. Even back then, when I was the target audience for some of this stuff, they weren't good. Some of them were good, but that was because they were able to elevate themselves a little.
Mm-hmm.
So, Gross Girls from Cartoon Network Studios with producers Adam Scott of Parks
Ooh.
and Recreation and Naomi Scott of Other People, alongside creators Daniela Hamilton and Scott Yakshin. Gross Girls is a smart, sophisticated animated comedy about Chuck and Zoe, two best friends trying to survive middle school without losing any of their trademark stinky, hairy, mad, sciencey grossness. In spite of jerky brothers, judgy classmates, and common decency, these two girls boost each other up and encourage each other to be 100% themselves. Because with the right best friend, everything is an adventure, even puberty. I think they're looking for their own Big Mouth. Let's be honest here.
It seems like this is like Big Mouth, but for a younger audience.
Yeah, and it could be really good. I'm kind of curious about it because even like with its faults, Big Mouth is actually pretty interesting with how it like approaches its subject matter. It's not always perfect, but it's doing it better, and like it's doing it better than most. So, Teen Titans Go, the night begins to shine. In this spin-off series of the Cartoon Network smash hit Teen Titans Go, Robin, Raven, Cyborg, Beast Boy, and Starfire journey back to the world of Night Begins to Shine, when the musical land falls victim to a sinister new threat. Together, the Titans must protect the only key to the world's salvation, a magical mixtape.
So let me get this straight. This is a Teen Titans Go spin-off that actually has a plot?
Yeah, and it's based off of pretty much the one episode everyone seems to love. So,
I might actually give that one a shot.
I know. Well,
I'm
go
a
ahead.
big fan of Teen Titans Go to the Movies.
Oh, same here.
And while I haven't seen the Teen Titans versus Teen Titans Go movie, I've heard that one is also really good.
It's pretty solid.
Cam and I are not one of we're not a part of like that like 2013 to 2015 crowd who pretty much spent their entire careers making fun of Teen Titans Go.
Yeah, just making that their entire identity, which even I think now people are like, God, we were such jerks. And it's like, no, I was never a part of that. I didn't care for a lot of it, but was I like just thinking it was the worst thing ever? No, it's not the worst thing ever. And
Not even close.
it was always ironic when the people were like, oh, I hate watching it, but I'm going to keep watching it so I can hate it. Grr. And it's like, well, you're giving the writers constant ammunition to use on you, and you're keeping the show alive. If you really did not like this show, you would have stopped watching it, because a hate watching is still a watch. So, Tweety Mysteries. Oh gosh, dang it. A hybrid live action animated adventure from Warner Brothers Animation that follows a curious tween investigative journalist and podcaster named Sydney and her sidekick Tweety Bird. Working together with the pair must solve various local mysteries in their small, quirky Washington state town.
Honestly, this is still in our jurisdiction.
It is.
Not only because it's it's an animation hybrid, but we'll talk about it once we get to Tom and Jerry. But one of our exceptions to our mostly sticking to animation rule is if it involves legacy characters, we have to talk about it.
Yeah, and we'll have to see how much animation is in this. I was kind of hoping it would be like a Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries reboot. I don't know if you remember that show, but
like It kind of sounds like that, just minus
Partially.
Sylvester.
Oh well, we still got the Looney Tunes show, so okay. Well, that was a lot of HBO Max and Cartoon Network stuff, but and Warner Brothers stuff. So let's move on to Apple because they've made it official. They've made their deal with Skydance Animation for a multi-year deal for TV shows and feature films. And we finally have our first looks at Spellbound and Luck. And I, barring who's in Skydance Animation, not completely ignoring that, it's still the toughest pill to swallow when talking about this stuff. The concept art looks great.
Oh yeah.
Like this stuff looks really good. Like it's got a lot of personality to it, and I'm sure like a lot of people were trying to be like, for some reason some video on YouTube went around saying like, is this the thing that will bring down Disney? Is Disney finally over?
No,
I was like,
no, just stop it. Just
stop being such hyperbolic clickbait mother truckers. Like, so first off, if a studio wants to survive in this hellscape, they have to be the best that they can be. I will drill that into their heads. I don't want to see another studio try to be Disney. I don't want to see another studio try to be like DreamWorks or Illumination. I want Illumination to be the best that Illumination can be. I want to see Skydance Animation be the best that it can be without having to feel like they need to compete. Because we saw what happened in the 90s with Warner Brothers. They failed horribly. And that's probably why, on top of a few other things, no one went to see The Iron Giant. They're like one amazing movie out of that time frame. So this isn't going to put a dent in Disney's armor. So don't talk about that stuff. Don't talk like it is. With that out of the way, Jane Fonda is going to be in Luck. And she'll voice the dragon. And the concept art for this one looks nice also, and well, I love Jane Fonda, so like
yeah,
that's
Jane Fonda is awesome.
Yeah.
Now apparently this was the role that that Emma Thompson left, if I'm not mistaken.
I think I don't think they talked about what role she had. I think like back then it was just like, this is the movie where she was going to be in Luck, but then dropped out because of the whole Lassiter situation. Which I'm wondering what happened with Jane Fonda, like what convinced her to go, because unless people who work at Skydance want to come on, like want to tell us anonymously how the working conditions are on these two films without feeling like, being threatened with being fired. We'll be happy to talk with you because I don't know. I feel like Jane Fonda would be be like the same boat as Emma Thompson to be like, I don't think so, but we'll have to see.
I am dying to be like a fly on the wall in the offices of Skydance Animation.
Yeah, same here. So The Great Gatsby got shoved into the public domain, and now we have a animation adaptation coming out. So it's going to be in development by William Joyce and animated by feature animation arm of a VFX house, DNEG, who worked on Tenet. Well, that sounds pretty interesting to me.
I think the reason why I'm more excited than I probably should be is because I like seeing people like William Joyce stepping up their game. As far as I know, this is Joyce's first directorial effort. I will just fact check that really quick.
Well, it's like I don't know much about the book, but I know about of course, the live action film that had Leo DiCaprio. And one of his few, like, I don't want to say misfires, but I remember that one was supposed to be like the big hype award film, and then, or I guess it was an award film. I forgot. I don't know. I forgot when it came out specifically, but I remember then it's like everyone was like, "Really? That's it? Okay."
Okay, so Joyce has directed a couple of other features, or um, I think the first thing he directed was a short film called "The Fantastic Flying Books of Mr. Lawrence Lesmore."
That sounds cool.
Yeah.
But
Um, and then something else he did was an Edgar Allan Poe adaptation, The Cask of Amontillado.
yeah,
So he's done mostly adaptations, but um, I'm happy to see him taking on such a big project like this.
yeah, no, it'll be very interesting to see the tone and how it's going to look. So, a new animated film is in productions called Master from Jamal Bradley, who was a ex DreamWorks supervising animator and is a current senior animator at Valve. And it's going to be produced by Steamroller Studios and will be executive produced by Peter Ramsey. And the feature will follow Olivia, a young black woman endowed with superpowers, as she leads her family to what she sees as a better life, only to realize that the life she's trying to leave behind is the one she should be fighting for. I love the teaser for this film, and it obviously has a somewhat pseudo Spider-Verse approach to animation,
Oh yeah,
but I don't care. Like, use and abuse that animation style all the studios want. Don't milk it to death, but take like style approaches from, or like lessons from it.
yeah,
Because it like
I agree. This teaser was awesome.
yeah,
And like if the success of Into the Spider-Verse means we get more stories featuring prominent black voices, then clearly something is working.
yeah. So let's talk about some Paramount Plus and Nickelodeon news, because it all kind of comes together. Mattel and Nickelodeon are going to team up to make more Monster High stuff, a animated series and a live action musical film set to premiere in 2022. That's all we're going to talk about, because this isn't in our lane also, unless it turns out to be like a friendship is magic kind of thing where it's like holy macaroni or something. Like, we might actually have to check it out. But since it's based off of the doll franchise, we're not going to cover it. So let's talk about the big Paramount Plus streaming thing. So first off, Beavis and Butthead are getting a movie for Paramount Plus on top of the TV series. Well, do you think a movie would be good for these two?
I think a movie would be better than a series, only because they already tried to reboot the series back in was it 2011,
Yeah.
and it just kind of fizzled out. um if the series ends up at Paramount Plus instead of Comedy Central, it might do better there.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, because I feel like a lot of those reboots and shows that were going to be like Comedy Central being like, we're going to push everything onto there and we're going to come back big, is now starting to look kind of weak, because they're not like the Clone High reboot got pushed to HBO Max.
Which I think is a better fit.
I think it is too. And we'll just have to see where this goes. the little teaser for the movie looked pretty funny, and it was kind of amusing that Beavis and Butthead were doing a Zoom call and they were still sitting next to each other from the couch.
that is funny.
That is funny, and I remember and it's not like they can't do a film format. It worked for them before. It's still kind of surreal to see Siskel and Ebert being like, you know what, that Beavis and Butthead movie was really good. I highly recommend it. Like, and if you remember them, it's like, wait, what? Really? You guys like the Beavis and Butthead movie?
The man, the things that Siskel and Ebert actually gave positive reviews for are kind of shocking when you really take a look at their old reviews.
Yeah. No, it's always kind of fun because for some reason, critics get kind of like get kind of lumped in with Jay Sherman from The Critic, where it's like all we like are the art, the cinema, and well, art. And it's like, no, I like goofy stuff like Beavis and Butthead. So we're all human. Like, just because you have your closet of Criterion Collection movies in there doesn't make you a better film fan.
Hell, even the Criterion Collection just like put out like a big box set for the Showa era of Godzilla.
So it's like, and those movies are corny. But anyway, on top of that news, we finally got our first look at the new Rugrats reboot, which is going to have all the returning cast members from the previous show. And of course, replacements for the ones that sadly passed away. And we got our first teaser for it. And I don't care if people are still mad that this is CGI. For CGI animation and Nickelodeon to be in the same sentence, this looks pretty solid. Like, sorry, taking a sip of water. Like, it looked like, I think, like, if you compare this to the Camp Coral trailer that was released around the same time, there's a vast difference about, like, how much better Rugrats looks. There's lighting, and, like, it all feels cohesive. It doesn't feel lifeless, which is, unfortunately, kind of like what Camp Coral looks like.
Also, I gotta say, I would so watch whatever that Reptar in Space movie or show that they're watching.
Oh, I'd watch that. Reptar is great. And has been some of the funnier content from Rugrats. I'm just kind of thinking back to a few episodes now, and it's like, oh man, yeah, that was pretty good. But yeah, and I like the animation look. It kind of has a mix of like CGI and stop motion. I love the little 2D eyes on Chucky, and it's always just great to hear E.G. Daily as Tommy Pickles. And it sounds like the voice actress for Angelica hasn't skipped a beat.
Yeah, no, she sounds exactly like she did like 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, no, it's well, again, it's surreal to remember that Rugrats was Nickelodeon's biggest cash cow for a while. I know SpongeBob's taken that throne, but it happens. It like there's always something beforehand. And it just looks cute, and I'm not going to poo-poo it because it's CGI. And of course people are like, but who is this made for? And it's like, well, it's made for a new generation. That's what happens with this stuff, you know? So on top of that, we also have our first look at the CG series, the Star Trek Prodigy, which will be released in 2021 later this year. And it'll be for kids and families. So it won't be connected to the Lower Decks franchise. And Mike, does this look like Star Trek to you?
If it didn't have Star Trek in the title, this would have looked like, I don't know, some generic sci-fi adventure series.
It looks like a child-friendly version of Mass Effect.
Oh God, you're right.
And it's I don't mean to poo-poo it or anything, but it's like the first image, like you have one chance to make a first impression, and when everyone is kind of like, that doesn't look like Star Trek, that's kind of a bad thing for your Star Trek show. But hopefully it's good. Like, nothing wrong. Nothing wrong with Star Trek going for a family audience. You could basically make it. It's been for families and such. Even though Star Trek is also about more politics and world building. But let's get into some of the other announcements. Nickelodeon is basically saying, I'm going to do it myself because they basically made an entire studio for Avatar franchise stuff, a series of shows and a theatrical animated feature are going to be made based off of the hit Avatar The Last Airbender franchise.
My favorite thing about this announcement is like this is this is coming like it basically sounds like this is a direct response to Michael and Brian leaving the Netflix live action series. They're just like, you know what? We create this world. We're gonna build it out ourselves.
Well, it's just like, and personally, and I'm just assuming this, just because we haven't gotten one casting confirmation or set shot, I don't think that live action Avatar series is happening. I'm sorry, I just don't think it's happening after this.
I agree. I think what's going to happen, and what probably has already even happened, is like this announcement has pretty much deflated any interest in the live action series. But instead of Netflix officially canceling that, I think they're just not going to talk about it for
months.
Yeah. Like they're just going to be silent for as long as possible. And it'll just be one of those projects that just kind of dies on the vine.
I feel like that's going to happen. And to push back against everyone being worried about Nickelodeon milking the franchise, and listen, I get that because giant corporations tend to do that and Hollywood tends to do that. But here's the thing. Here's the question. Do you think that after those articles came out saying that Avatar The Last Airbender and Avatar The Legend of Korra being the most watched children's show of 2020, they were just going to do nothing about that? You'd have to be stupid to think that they weren't going to do something about that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And it's also obvious that what's going on here at Avatar Studios. This is Nickelodeon's Lucasfilm, for better or for worse.
And how it's cool. It's martial arts, elemental fighting. So, I think that it's going to be good. Like, I think in the end, it's going to be good because you know what?
Really quick before we move on, one pitch I have for either a series or the movie. I want to see what the Avatar world looks like in some like cyberpunk future, because we've seen a little bit of like prehistoric time with the first Avatar, and we've seen like
the 20s to 30s kind of.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit of everything up to like the Roaring 20s.
Yeah,
but I'm fascinated by what a future world would look like.
On one hand, I think that would be cool, but on the other hand, I just kind of like that Avatar is this fantasy franchise, and I think some of the charm of the fantasy aspects kind of got lost when you go into the Roaring 20s with cars and such. I don't know. It's just like I like that. It's like I like it more as a fantasy franchise than a cyberpunk franchise. But
I get that. It's just
it would be cool though. I agree. I'm not
Yeah.
saying it's a bad idea. I'm not disagreeing per se. It's just like I want to see how they would execute it if they ever could make that work. Because when you get cyberpunk, but then like earth bending, water bending, and fire bending and whatnot, I don't know. I don't know how that would mesh well. But Well, we will have to see if that ever happens. So they are making a live action reboot of Dora the Explorer and the Fairly Odd Parents. I get Dora the Explorer, and I assume that they apologized or whatever they had to do to make Butch Hartman come back. And I I don't know. It's not going to be made for us, but the franchise has been tainted for animation fans for so long, especially when they started going from 2D animation to Flash, and you could tell that they were moving to Flash. And just the fact that the show stayed dead on the vine for so long, what's the point? And Butch Hartman has kind of just basically burned his goodwill with the fans, especially since around this same time Butch Hartman was getting criticized for plagiarizing art. Like because he would do like commissions and such, and then people would be like, "Hey, wait a minute, this looks awfully similar to the picture I drew that I uploaded." So
On top of, do you remember his idea for a streaming service, like Oaxis, that he tried to launch,
yeah, and
which never went anywhere?
yeah, no, did something happen with it because I remember the announcement, the pushback, and then nothing.
I,
um,
I think that just completely blew up in his face.
yeah, I remember that was kind of like the beginning of the end for like to really kind of dig the grave of his fame and goodwill. So we also got in that big Paramount Plus stream, The Harper House, an animated comedy about a family forced to move from the rich to poor side of Arkansas. Okay, that sounds kind of generic and sounds like a reverse oh, what was it, the Beverly Hillbillies kind of thing where they go from poor to rich.
Hmm.
So it sounds like it's in reverse. And I looked up the description, so it's about like a wife who lost her job, and her and her family have to move from it says the rich to poor side. Okay, well, there's not a whole lot there. And then of course Camp Coral, and that's about it for the Paramount stuff. They don't seem to be taking a lot of risks on new stuff. A lot of this is very like it's based on something or it's a reboot of something else. Like they're still doing the iCarly reboot, even though one of the producers or showrunners left because there was no agreement between her and Miranda Cosgrove. So who knows who looks bad there? I don't know. I feel like Paramount Plus is going to look better if it can survive a year or two more, because otherwise, I still haven't had a reason to subscribe to it.
I'm going to subscribe less for these announcements and more for the library.
I think that's going to be the case for me because, of course, this was the same announcement where they were like, "Hey, Mission Impossible, the new movie, and A Quiet Place Part 2, after 45 or so days in theaters, will hit the streaming service." And I know a lot of people are like really upset about that because the death of the theater experience. Well, it's like, well, we're still in a pandemic, so
Yeah, and plus 45 days. That may be half the, I guess, normal theatrical window, but 45 days is still kind of a long time.
yeah, no, we'll have to see how that goes. But let's talk about some trailers finally before we actually get to the movies. I apologize. We had a lot of news to tackle. I tried to shorten it as best as I could. There wasn't a whole lot to cut out. So we got our first look at Belle, the new Mamoru Hosoda film, which looks like a mix of Beauty and the Beast and Summer Wars, where it takes place within uh, a social media world and such. What did you think about the teaser, Mike?
Uh, Looks gorgeous. I'm very curious and excited to dive into the world of Mamoru Hosoda. He's one of those directors who's kind of a blind spot for me. And I know we've talked about him before on previous episodes. So yeah, I just based off this trailer, it looks gorgeous, and I'm sure it's going to be emotional too.
Well, it's coming out this year in the summer, and I'm sure G Kids is going to pick this up, and I'm going to get a screener for it. And I'm sure we'll probably hear something about it at Annecy. And if it's going to be premiere at Annecy, I'd like to see it. I don't care what copyright stuff you have to go through Annecy, but I'd love to watch it. Please. Don't do what you did last year and make half your films that people want to see not watchable to the public. Because, really, I think if they're going to go further with virtual theater festivals, they need to do what Animation First and what the New York International Children's Film Festival are doing. Make it watchable. Make them pay for either individual screenings or a whole pass for it, and you get to watch the films and such. So, but that's not the biggest trailer that dropped this week, because Disney released their teaser and Pixar released their teaser for Luca. We finally got our first official look at Luca. And, well, and on top of that, we also have our stars of Jacob Tremblay will voice Luca, and Jack Dylan Grazer, Emma Berman, Maya Rudolph, Marco Baracelli, and Jim Gaffigan. Finally, Jim Gaffigan is in an animated film that's not going to be garbage.
Well, I know, right?
I mean, Hotel Transylvania 3 was great, but I feel like it was just when I say that, I'm like, oh, thank goodness he's in a Disney movie.
Yeah.
And so, what do you think about the trailer?
The trailer looks great. A lot of people have been noticing that the animation style looks very un-Pixar. And I think it's kind of fascinating how this and what's the next one after this? Red something?
Let's see. But yeah, no, Turning Red.
Turning Red, there we go.
Yeah.
Both these films, when I look at their character designs, it looks like it kind of looks like a cross between Aardman animation and a little bit of Studio Ghibli in terms of the face and the the mouth. But it looks cute. This one looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
And I love childhood friendships and romances and stuff like that. And of course, with the whole twist of both of the boys. So now it's confirmed that both of them are fish people. A lot of people are kind of assuming there's going to be some underlying subtext to that. And maybe not outwardly they're they're going to be gay lovers, but we'll have to see. I actually wouldn't mind that, because we kind of need a new Call Me By Your Name, since the one that people like now has a abuser and maybe cannibal blood drinker.
Yeah, the stuff with Armie Hammer is
it's nuts.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack.
Yeah, so now it's kind of hard to be because everyone at first joking, we're like, oh, ha ha, Pixar is going to make their own Call Me By Your Name, and then that news drops, and it's like, okay, I'm fine with that. I'm not bothered by it. But here's one thing.
There's a tweet that I saw earlier about this movie. It's it's one of the Pixar people saw the two most popular best picture nominees of 2017, Call Me By Your Name and The Shape of Water. It's
yeah.
It's ooh, what are the two most popular best picture nominees? Okay, we got The Shape of Water, we got Call Me By Your Name. So what if we made what if we made both at the same time?
And I have to say, I love that this film looks very low key. Like, I'm sure there's going to be a conflict or something, but because because the whole town is like, we don't like fish monsters and such. So, um, but I like that the vibe of the trailer gives off that it's very slice of life, and it's very much like a Kiki's Delivery Service and a Princess Mononoke
See,
kind of thing.
Studio Ghibli.
Yeah. And I'm actually fine with the new art style change. Everyone is complaining constantly that Disney and Pixar films all look the same. They don't, but
Hmm.
it's like they finally do it, and everybody's like, "What? Now it's weird looking. It's not Pixar or Disney." And it's like, what do you want? Because you say one thing, but then you say you don't want it. Sorry, it says, "Oh, that drives me nuts." So
I always just go back to that Courage the Cowardly Dog scene with Courage and Baby Muriel.
oh yeah, when it's just like more cheese, less macaroni, more macaroni, less cheese, and then it's like perfect, slam. I hate macaroni and cheese. Gosh, that meme or that clip just perfectly encapsulates the frustration with with film fans. I'm so sorry that I keep that. I don't hate fandoms and such. I just there are some things that just drive me up a wall. So let's move on to our stuff that I can be driven up a wall for another reason.
Okay, so we're ready to talk about it now.
We're ready to talk about Tom and Jerry 2021, along with those two little shorts that we'll just lump in that they released on HBO Max with no warning. So
Can we do the shorts first because I want to talk about something positive.
yeah, let's do that first. You go first.
Um, okay. Vamp for a little bit while I actually bring up the name of those shorts.
So basically, HBO Max just surprise dropped 2 5-minute Tom and Jerry shorts that are done by the same team of people who worked on the new Looney Tunes shorts. And they're done in the same kind of like 2D animation style. They're designed more like the very original Tom and Jerry, not like the very, very original, but like when they started to refine the looks and such. It's like a little bit before they went kind of like smooth, simplistic looks, and way before the Chuck Jones era. It's more like kind of like that area in between, like when they're or like beforehand. But since HBO Max also mixes up all the shorts and they don't do it by time period, um, so it's a little like frustrating to know what era that I'm trying to describe these in.
which
But
is
it's
gonna
like
make recommending like shorts a little bit difficult. But I found the two that HBO Max put out. One of them is called On a Roll, which takes place in like a sushi shop,
yeah,
like or a sushi bar,
yeah,
and the other one is The House That Cat Built.
golly,
And
um,
both of these, there have been some like animatics that have been going around, sort of
yeah,
like the behind the scenes. And God, these two shorts, I know we've sung the praises of the Looney Tunes cartoons plenty of times, and this is like literally from that same team. But man, they nail exactly the style and the tone of those original Hanna-Barbera like classic theatrical shorts.
yeah. They even use, I think, the archived recordings of uh, either
It was
Joseph Hanna.
Bill Hanna, his iconic scream. They use that a couple times, and it's wonderful.
Well, it's like you can't have a Tom and Jerry short unless you use that. And I know you can get like newer voice actors and such to try to replicate it, but there's just
It's not
nothing.
the same.
It's not the same. It's like you can like I'm not saying this as a diss against Eric Bauza or anything. It's like he's really good at capturing that old school vibe and energy of the Looney Tunes, of like Mel Blanc's iteration and incarnation. But Tom and Jerry is very specific. You can't hire someone new to do Tom's screaming voice. You have to use William Hanna's iconic scream and sound effects. And we'll talk about this with the movie, but that's what they use for the movie. So kudos to that. And it's very like, of course, since this is the old Tom and Jerry cartoons, these are very violent.
Oh yes.
And it's very much very old. It's definitely like in that vein of the old school ones. And it's got the wildly expressive punishment faces for when Tom screws up, and puts him into the dicey situations that Jerry gets stuck in, especially in On a Roll, when I almost thought Jerry got cut in half when they was making the sushi rolls.
I think my favorite reaction is when Jerry just throws the wasabi at Tom's face. He's like his eyes start watering up. He goes to grab a drink. It's like the hot tea.
Oh gosh.
And he just explodes.
Well, let's just say this: do not eat. If you ever get wasabi, use a little of it. Do not, for the love of everything, use a lot of it, because you'll blow out your nostrils. It's a lot. No, and it's just like they're very creative and funny, and I love like the intricate, overly designed cat house, because I always remember these kind of things being set up at pet stores, and golly, it looks like they take forever. And then of course you see those pictures of like, I got my cat this elaborate cat house, but he likes the box.
My cat's the same way. She'll immediately go for like any box for like a package that we get. Like she loves to play inside the box more than any toy that we try to give her.
Yeah, no, it's and it was just like, these are just clever, and I loved like the energy and vibe. Like they don't miss, like they feel different enough from the Looney Tunes shorts, even though the Looney Tunes shorts are love reveling in Tweety Bird's sadistic nature. But like I feel like they're not just like putting a different, like copy pasting and using a different skin on the characters. Like it still feels very much Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
And
if anything, I think these Tom and Jerry shorts, they do a better job at capturing like the spirit of the original than, while I love the Looney Tunes cartoons, like they feel a little bit more modern.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's because like these are the only two shorts that we've seen. Like, so they must have put a little bit extra effort into them. I hope this isn't the last time we get to see this team work on Tom and Jerry, because they do such a good job with it.
I would love to see them tackle a Tom and Jerry series like this again. And like, I know there's like people have issues with the whole how it's drawn and whatnot and colorized, but it's I know there was that Tom and Jerry series that happened in the 2010s, but I don't really hear anyone talk about it. And maybe that's for a good or bad reason. It's just like it's just like, it's like trying to modernize Tom and Jerry is like the wrong thing to do. They work best as a silent duo getting into physical comedy. And
so that leads directly into the movie.
Yeah. So, Tom and Jerry 2021, the film that before it got pushed onto the whole HBO Max same day theatrical release thing was going to be Warner Brothers' first theatrical film released in theaters while still in the pandemic, and yet they did not give that same option at first for Wonder Woman 84. So it was easy to dunk on the fact that they were putting a lot of faith in Tom and Jerry, and to a degree, if you're looking at the box office returns, it's working. But at the same time, I did not like this movie.
Um, I am going to be the softer of like between the two of us, but like on the whole, neither one of us think much fondly about this. I'll say this, and this is where a lot of my positives come in. I think the animation is really good. It's a weird choice to make all of the animals animated, but I think they only did that just so Tom and Jerry didn't feel completely out of place in the real world. But we'll get to that in a minute.
So let's talk about this first. So first off, you know that scene in the trailer when they're walking down a neighborhood and they're on separate sides of the streets, and of course Tom and Jerry were about to say farewell and they're about to get a hug, and when Tom tries to cross the street, a bus hits him.
Oh yeah, that wasn't in the movie.
Yeah. So we just kind of entered with Tom and Jerry arriving in New York on their own accord. With Tom arriving to be a piano player. Apparently that was a goal of his for like the first 5 minutes, and it shows up a few times. And it's not like that's a bad thing or anything. Tom's like been a piano player throughout a few of the shorts, and some of the most iconic shorts. And but then Jerry was just looking for a place to live, and I'll say this: like, even though I'm going to be really critical about this movie, I did like the house hunting sequence where they find a abandoned car and there's a little mouse like body print, like like a murder what do they call it, like murder chalk or whatever, like an outline.
Yeah, they just call it the chalk outline.
Yeah, the chalk outline. And I love like the mouse realtor is saying all these really horrid things, and he's like, I'm joking. I'm not joking. and yeah, they what was the studio again that did the CGI for the film?
Frame Store.
They did a good job. Like, we're at a point where we can make super cartoony looking CGI and it doesn't look weird or awkward. Like, I feel like if that Rocky and Bullwinkle film came out in this era, it would look a lot better, because I feel like they just weren't there yet with that look, with the CGI look of those characters.
Yeah,
but
I thought like the Rocky and Bullwinkle movie was it looked fine, but those characters, like they didn't blend enough into the reality as these ones did.
Yeah, and I did look around, and every animal, every fish, every bird, every dog, every cat was animated. They did not. There's no scene of like, oh, whoops, there's a live action bird in the background or anything like that. Now every animal, and I give them kudos, because sometimes you'll just see a small dog in the background, and it's animated, or like the horse pulling the carriage, animated. Even the fish at the fish market are animated, and the skeleton at the museum later in the film
is animated.
Is animated, and even in the kitchen, the meat is animated, which is probably why you don't see anyone eat anything in this movie. So you just see them drinking champagne, or they do eat something. It's cake.
Yeah, it's like cake, or like I don't know,
sweets.
Like, yeah, like cake or like crackers and stuff.
Yeah, so you don't see them eat any meat or fish. And I'm sure that's because there was no way they were going to make that look good.
Yeah,
And
no.
you'd have to make it all animated by that point, which this was originally supposed to be a fully animated project, but then they thought that making it a 90s movie was a better idea. So let's talk about a few pros. Like we said, I think the one creative thing I like was the fact that all the animals are animated. There's no in-universe explanation. Everyone just kind of accepts that everything's animated. I think that's one really cool creative touch. It gives it a very distinct look, and it avoids the constant pit traps of them trying to make the Smurfs, Yogi Bear, or what have you look realistic.
Oh, I just the thought of like Tom and Jerry looking realistic, I it just does not compute.
Oh, it doesn't look. It would not look good, and then the physical comedy wouldn't look good either because it's a real cat and mouse getting hurt. So you don't want. That's why Tom and Jerry works as cartoon characters, because they can get hurt, but it's a cartoon. So at least like with the physical comedy, it works. And when Tom and Jerry are on screen, the physical comedy is cute. It's very solid, and to kudos to the film, they do use the archived recordings of Joe, William Hanna and Frank Welker and I think a few others.
I saw Mel Blanc's name in the credits too.
Yeah, so they use their voice recordings for those characters, and you can tell like when they switch out between some of them. But I do like that like I like that they use that, because again, these characters don't talk, and they've tried to make them talk before and it failed. Nobody likes hearing these two characters talk. And well, here's a fun fact. T-Pain does Tom's singing voice.
Sure.
And we'll get to that in a second. And like I said, I think the physical comedy is very funny. Like like I definitely had a smile on my face more than like with everything else that we'll get into. But
Yeah, when they were doing like when they were recreating some of like the classic gags from like those older shorts, you know, the one where Jerry does the like the eye, like the punching of the eye.
oh yeah.
That's always been one of my favorites. When they kind of recreate those classic moments, it's great. Now my biggest criticism is with the humans, but the exceptions to that are Rob Delaney, who like who could read the phone book and it would crack me up. There's something about his delivery where even like
Stellar.
yeah, no, none of the dialogue is that great, but his delivery when he says like like we can't tell people that we hired a cat, that would look bad, and we can't fire him either, because then PETA would be all over our ass.
Yeah, no, and no, he was probably the one human that I thought did a good job. I'll get into the others. And I will say, for Spike the Bulldog, I did like Bobby Cannavale as his voice. I thought he did a pretty good job at capturing his spirit.
I honestly didn't recognize him at first.
No, he definitely kind of loses himself into it. And I liked Little Rel Howery. Yeah, sorry. As Tom's shoulder devil and shoulder angel. And
I like that too.
And I think those have some of the funniest gags. Like later on when they're having another conflict of interest, and the angels about to get into a fight with the devil, and the devil's like, "Well, fine, come over here and say that to my face." Well, here I go. Then a train runs over him, and it's just like there are some decent or solid performances. But let's talk about the stuff that doesn't work. And that's every other human in this friggin' movie. I did not like anyone in this casting. And not because I don't like the actors. I love Chloe Grace, Michael Pena, and Rob Delaney and Ken Jeong. But I do not like the performances. Chloe Grace, I'm sorry, this might be her worst performance I've seen of her.
It's pretty much her nothingest performance, because I don't know what she was doing. Like this is basically the role that anyone could have done in their sleep.
And she's done good performances before, despite some of the content warnings with these two recommendations, go see The Miseducation of Cameron Post and the horror and the Suspiria remake. Like she can be, and Greta, like she can be good. And I don't know what the heck she was going on trying to do. It's like she was kind of high on marijuana, and then was like, "Okay, I'm done with this line. I'm about to go." No, you have the whole movie to go through, and she constantly looked shocked and like disappointed that she had to be there. And she, I don't know if I just haven't seen the right film of her, like with her to show off her comedic chops. That's not animated because she's Wednesday Addams and such. But she was not funny at all, and it just sounded like she was just struggling to find something. And I can't tell if it was improv or not, but it just sounds like she was just she wasn't good at it. She was not funny, and usually like someone like Michael Pena is good at knowing what kind of movie he's in, but he wasn't funny at all. There was nothing funny about him or his lines, or there was one funny line.
And this is not for a lack of effort either, because I don't know, maybe he was just kind of throwing shit at the wall, but it really wasn't working.
No, and it's a shame. I liked him in like that live action Dora the Explorer film. I thought he was actually pretty funny in that. And then with Ken Jeong, he's usually very good too, but this script is such nothing. Or it's just like it was just a very middling script. And then of course everyone kind of pointed to the clip on Twitter where it's like, did they just ADR like one line of his, because the line does not match his lips?
That's when you know you fucked up.
And he's usually very funny, but he was not funny here either. He was just kind of like, I feel like everyone was downplaying the fact that they were there. And I don't know, maybe it's because they needed something to be grounded against Tom and Jerry's cartoony antics. I think this would have been funnier if everyone was on the same level, because it seems like everyone was not on the same level.
Like, yeah, I think so really my thesis on this movie is that Tom and Jerry as a franchise does not work as a feature film. Like it just doesn't.
They keep trying and they keep failing at it. And here's what I kind of tease this outside of the podcast to the rest of the websites, like the people on the websites. I watched this movie again to my detriment, but I wanted to see how much time Tom and Jerry were actually on screen. And so I sat down and I pulled out my stopwatch app, and I clicked it for like any time they were on screen, no matter if they were in the background, the foreground, the main focus, or just any time the camera would cut to them. So, Mike, you want to guess I mean, I told you already, but you want to guess how long, like how much screen time they have in the 101 minutes this movie runs at?
I don't know, like 30, maybe 40.
37 minutes and 43 seconds.
Jesus.
They are not the main characters in their own movie. Stop doing that. Stop making them the side characters when your movie is called Tom and Jerry. They need to be in the movie at the very least 80% of the time. Because because here's the problem. This is why all these film attempts fail. You have to balance it out with something that's not the antics. And they never find a way to make that balance work. Sometimes it's a little more successful, but still fails, or it just fails flat. That's why people do not like those like Tom and Jerry and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory films, or Tom and Jerry and the Wizard of Oz. You get a mediocre version of that movie, and you also get a mediocre version of a Tom and Jerry movie, and it just makes it worse.
Oh yeah, because a lot of those direct to video movies are. I think the first couple were, for lack of a better term, original stories, but some of the later ones, like Back to Oz or Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, it's like they just kind of shoehorned Tom and Jerry into a story where they don't belong.
And it just, these don't make sense. And so it's like, what are we stuck with when Tom and Jerry aren't on screen with this movie? A very boring, mediocre, probably the worst coming of age story I've ever seen, of just a young person trying to find their way in the world. And that's a fine story. Don't put it in my Tom and Jerry movie. And it's just like, I would have been more forgiving if there was at least an entertaining value to when Tom and Jerry aren't on screen. But it just kind of shows why this was probably a bad idea to make it a live action hybrid movie. I feel like it could have at least worked, or at least been more tolerable if the whole film was CGI.
Yeah, and another thing I was something else I was thinking about is okay, so so I don't think Tom and Jerry should ever be a feature film, but Warner Brothers was like, we're gonna do it anyway. Okay, fine, but you gotta stay animated. Nah, we're gonna do live action. Okay, fine, but maybe make it more of an anthology. No, we're gonna do the '90s thing and make it a really boring live action movie that just happens to feature your favorite characters. Oh God, they did nothing right.
No, they didn't. Oh, and the best, or I say best as if I'm not saying the worst performance of the movie, is Colin Jost as Ben. He looked like he did not care at all that he was there. And I'm sorry, maybe there's a reason why he's not in many of this or any of the other skits that's not the news thing on Saturday Night Live, because he has no range as an actor. You kind of get what his character is, but then it's like they do weird things where he's like, "Oh, this just reminds me when I was in prison, white collar crime, but still." And it's like, "What? No, 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 no! Don't just skim past that. What happened?" And he just looked like he just did not care, and it just he put in probably the worst performance of the movie. And I don't believe in the Razzie system, but I'd nominate him for worst actor right now.
That might be the worst romantic lead performance that I've seen in like the last 10 years.
And golly, just this makes Pete Davidson and What Men Want look like looks like Nicolas Cage from Moonstruck. So it's just like, oh my gosh, did he just? Oh God, if I stay on this any longer, I'm just going to be harsher and harsher on him, and that's going to be way too mean.
Yeah.
So, Mike, let's move to we're not going to move on just yet. We're going to have a little quick discussion about the reception of this film. It's getting wildly panned right now because of, well, everything not working, but it's also a financial hit as of right now.
Oh,
But
here, okay. I know where you're going with this.
But let's talk about how some people are acting like critics are wrong if they do not like this movie. And the fact that some people on Twitter were saying that critics who did not like the Tom and Jerry movie, again, the Tom and Jerry movie, should be fired and maimed. Jesus. For Tom and Jerry. Are you really going to die on that hill? Really? I don't care if you're joking. Are you really going to die on a hill to tell me I should lose my job because I didn't like this stupid movie? And then let's get to the other defense. The fans will like this. This was made for the fans. What do you have to say about that? I need to drink for a second.
I'm really just at a loss for words how in 2021 we're still dancing this dance of oh, the critics are out of touch, or like they should lose their jobs over an opinion I don't agree with. Like, come the hell on. And the whole for the fans thing. Look, I'm not gonna begrudge the movie for being actually a pretty big hit at the box office, because as I've said off mic, that Tom and Jerry as a brand has never really left the zeitgeist. There's always been at least one iteration like every few years. So, there's still gas in the tank for this cat and mouse duo, but that doesn't excuse the like the piss poor behavior I've seen of like people on Twitter calling for the heads of critics that they disagree with.
And here's a question, Mike, because anytime I bring this up, nobody answers it. And it kind of shows how flimsy the stupid, ill-informed, it's for the fans defense is. Would you be saying this for a film aimed at adults? No, you wouldn't. No one. You would not do that.
Why I mean, there would be other excuses, but specifically the for the fans thing. Yeah, no, that. What are some of the other excuses I've heard? Like, oh, it's for children. That like don't be so pretentious.
Don't yuck their yum and whatever. And it's just like, you wouldn't be saying that if Pixar made this. You'd be like, what the hell is Pixar doing? And it's just like, and it's, listen, I don't hate anyone who likes the film. If you like this movie, good on you. You know what? You've enjoyed it more than me. And hey, if the kids like this movie, so be it. That's perfectly fine. They can enjoy it. I'm not going to be someone who's going to walk up to a kid and ask them, hey, did you like the Tom and Jerry movie? And they say yes. I'm going to push them to the ground. Like, no, that's insane. I'm not going to tell a kid that they're taste in film sucks. What I will say is that it seems like everyone likes to come off like kids' entertainment doesn't deserve better when some of the best shows of the past decades were aimed at family audiences and kids. Avatar: The Last Airbender, Infinity Train, Steven Universe, Adventure Time. Wouldn't you want that kind of quality for like everything? Like I
It's
would.
it's something that I say all the time. Quality does not have a demographic.
No,
Uh,
and it's like, and we've seen good live action family films. And like the kid, what is that one by the guy who made the Attack the Block? The kid who
oh,
shall
like the
who should be
kid who
named?
would be king.
Yeah, that. There's Detective Pikachu. Even the Dora the Explorer live action film was pretty solid. Like good, fun, and entertaining, despite my issues with it. So it's like, would you be saying is like that's the thing that kind of I think that people take the wrong thing from Disney when he says I make films for families. They made films for everyone to enjoy, and kids might be the target demographic for Tom and Jerry. But here's the thing: if you're going to a theater, please be safe. To see this, a kid is not buying the ticket. The adult is. They have to sit there and watch the movie with their kids. You need to make sure that they're not sitting there and just rolling their eyes and hating every second of it. Like, would you be saying it? Like, what if someone said Oogie Loves was the worst movie they ever seen? Would you be using the same defense?
Oh hell
No.
no.
So, and listen, I'm coming off incredibly harsh, but I will say this is not my worst movie of 2021 or anything like that. It's not even like there. It's mostly mediocre and forgettable. But if the kids like it, who am I to say? You know?
Yeah, I feel the same way. A movie that Cameron and I saw at Annecy, um, like last year, is now that it has an official release. Um, that is um, our worst of 2021, and I haven't even seen the dub yet. Um,
Lava.
we might talk about that later, just to give it a thrashing. But for now, if you enjoyed the Tom and Jerry movie, good on you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Um, we will we might recommend a few classic shorts just so we can wash the taste out of our mouths.
Yes, but it's time to change target demographic, isn't it?
Yeah. Let's talk about a show that I'm so happy exists and was just recently announced to have a third season. But we're talking about season 2 of Close Enough.
Yeah, man. After radio silence of after season 1, it was just nice to see that season 2 was going to happen. And a few things have changed now. One, all the episodes are two-parters. So that means there are two 12 or so minutes or 11 minutes sections. No like weird random third like 30-minute one at the very end. So, Mike, what did you think about this second season?
Uh,
Like overall?
overall, I think this batch of episodes was a lot stronger than the first season, or maybe it just feels that way um because now that the series is on HBO Max, um it feels like they've ironed out all the bugs. So each story each story feels more like the pacing has been improved. The jokes are just funnier. The situations get more ridiculous.
And I'd argue that some of these episodes have very hard hitting story beats that I just love.
Oh, certainly.
I'll talk about a few of them, of course, but yeah, the situations are still extremely zany. Especially like with the first episode, Josh gets shredded. Just like the different rankings of muscular, and then like super swole, and that the last person that did it died.
Oh yeah, the absolute unit.
Yeah, the absolute units, and then turns into basically a Fist of the North Star character with how overly buff and giant he is. And of course, there's a great side character performance by Kevin Michael Richardson, and then there's like Meet the Frackers, where you find out Randy, right, the one with the orange hair,
Yep.
Meets his real parents, and one of them is played by Wendy Malick. And I thought the other one was played by Stephen Root, but I don't think that's him. But I like and as zany as stuff like the house guest from hell gets, where it's just like you deal with the most absolute worst person ever, especially including the fact that she's dating the devil, so it turns into a somewhat parody of Rosemary's Baby.
Oh yeah, I get it. Lucifer.
Yeah,
that was actually a pretty genius twist.
Yeah, and I like the context of it, the commentary about really like cut the toxicity out of your life. It's not worth dealing with it just because you don't want to come off as mean, even though the house guest from hell still ends up being the worst person out of like still. But it's just like because that's what you have to do sometimes is get out of that situation, man. But yeah, go ahead.
I'm not gonna lie. Emily in the house guest from hell episode is probably like the most relatable because I wouldn't say any of my friendships were as bad as this, but you know I've experienced like similar situations like that where a friendship may come off as one-sided. So I sympathize with her, like just needing to escape a bad situation like this.
Oh, I've encountered some of this or been like the witness to said toxic friendships. And there's also a lot more parodies of stuff like this season, especially with like the two-part sequence of Joint Break and Cyber Matrix. And then, of course, Where Do You Go, Bridget? Of course, being a parody of Where Do You Go, Bernadette? And I have to say, I didn't realize it was a Point Break parody until the very end. But man, first off, we get more like time with the side characters this time, which I kind of like.
Candace this season actually feels like a more developed character.
Yeah, and I really like Pearl, and not just because she's voiced by the great Danielle Brooks, but I felt like instead of just being the sassy black woman, she's like there is more to her, and I know there's like some like I guess like what Haley said during the anime podcast, spinning plates of Pearl being an ex cop. But I feel like I liked her I liked her appearances, during this seasons, and I liked her dynamic and relationship with Randy, and I really liked Randy in this season. I like James Adamian. Like I don't know. It's like everything's just it's like season one but better, and then of course like Candace going through a Scarface situation, but called Sauce Face. And it's like they kind of expanded on the world a little bit more. And I dug that, like, the teacher, I forgot what the teacher's name was.
Mr. Campbell.
Yeah, Mr. Campbell. Like at some points he's a little too cartoonish for his own good about like what kind of character he's a spoof of, even though I've run into so many of those kinds of people and they drive me up a wall. I like that they gave him an episode where he had to deal with someone on his level. So it just kind of seems like it kind of makes up for the fact that he's kind of a punk, but he's never like punished for it. But I mean, what did you think about like the expansion on some of these characters? Like,
Um, I just really like that. Um, more of these stories can go like beyond Josh and Emily, like just trying to like um
like survive and
yeah.
thrive as as like a young parent and such. And I will say, I always get a little tired of the plot points of like, oh, we don't have enough money, but then it's always just kind of a thing that they try. That's more of like an igniter point, like an ignition point for the plot to kick in, especially for like the episode Sauce Face.
Yep.
But they seem pretty okay because they keep getting into shenanigans and keep buying things where it's like, didn't you say that you couldn't afford this? but but I think my favorite aspect of some of this batch of episodes, outside of the zaniness, like the zaniness is going to be a given. It's regular. It's not just regular show but for adults. Heck, you could probably like tone down some of the humor in this show, and you could still show it to like kids and teens and whatnot. Um, but I liked that it kind of expanded on characters like Bridget and Alex more, and I tend to keep finding them to be my favorite characters of the bunch, and
I
not
think
just
I think my favorite Alex episode is Time Hooch.
Time Hooch. That's a great one. So the plot of this episode is that like Alex finds the divorce papers that he hid away to make the official, like the divorce official. It's that kind of plot point. And then he's reminiscing with oh, what's his name?
Josh.
Josh. Yeah, sorry. With Josh about like how the breakup happened after a fight because of a sandwich. And then they drink this hooch that was in this barrel and go back in time to that point and then um
And then they are basically responsible for every reason that Alex and Bridget fight.
yeah. And but what I like about the episode is the message at the end that like trying to fix the past is not going to do anything for the present, basically. And for some reason that just kind of hit me hard. It's because it's like because Alex is so stuck on what happened in the past. But it's like it was like in its own creative, absurd way of telling Alex to like just let it go. It happened. But the fact that you still like being with one another just as friends and whatnot, it's like it's still a good thing, you know? And I just thought that was very touching. And or I like seeing Bridget kind of feel like, well, every guy is ghosting me, even though she's the one ghosting every other guy because she's afraid of commitments.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in the episode Haunted Couch, which I love the the punchline where it's just like, oh well, something's gonna happen, and then Alex and Josh come in. It's like, hey, we found like an alleyway couch. No, we are not bringing that in, but I want it. And then of course, like there's some stuff like with some of the episodes like birthdays where that gets super absurd and you get a surprise performance from Paul F. Tompkins as the wizard, as a magician there.
And Kate McCucci as
The weird creepy present box thing.
yep.
Oh, that thing was so creepy, and Kate McCucci was so funny in that and it was like unhinged a little. It's
Oh,
kind of like if
totally unhinged.
it's like if Webby went mental or went psycho, or I guess postal. I don't know what the term is these days. And and I love how at the end he's just like, as you could see, Candace, I could never have kids. It was my greatest regret in history. And then everybody's like, okay, just go through the portal, get out of here. and of course it does have its own like little commentary about like social media, being on your phones. Though I think if I had to pick my favorite episodes, it would be like Joint Break, Birthdays, Josh Gets Shredded, Meet the Frackers. Though I think the one that gets the biggest laugh is Secret Horse.
Mm-hmm.
Which is
Secret Horse, I think, has the best it has the best structure in terms of how to do a really good anthology episode, but without actually it's like it's an anthology episode in that every character gets their time to shine, and the only connective tissue is it's all the horse.
Oh gosh, and that horse just being as chunky as it was really funny to me. Like I just dug all the jokes and the gags that came with it, and then at the very end it ends with just the horse getting on top of their car and just pissing all over it. And then the narrator is just like, yeah, no, it's just a magic horse. Maybe you are all just jerks. Goodbye. The end. No, it's just like this has so far been like the best new, or at least new for the 2020s adult animated show out there. Like it's not super edgy. It's not shocking to be shocking. It's JG Quintel just taking the regular show formula, tweaking it a little to be more adult, but still grounded. And I think that's what's so good about it.
Yeah, I think his sensibility is perfect for this medium, because some shows like there are some Family Guy episodes that I don't feel like do that good a job like using the medium of animation, but this one does, and that it's rated TV 14 means, while this is a little bit more adult than regular show, it's still okay to watch with like the rest of the family.
Yeah, no,
but it's certainly aimed more at like the young adult crowd.
no, and no, it's just like well, it's like it's slowly dying out. Well, it's dying faster than like thankfully that like stuff like Hoops, where it's just it's mean and edgy and shocking for the sake of it, is dying out. And then because there always seems to be that thing of like, oh, we're going to be edgy and shocking for the sake of it, but then try to be sentimental, and it's like, oh, I do not want these characters to be sentimental. Like there was this scene I still remember from Hoops, and I'm sorry that we're beating that dead horse again, but there's a scene I remember when the main character is making out with his ex-wife, and the show is having this little song sequence that's trying to be funny about like, we're not going to show the sex because we're above that, and it's like, no, you are not. So it comes off cynical and just like it's just spiteful from like in a way to me. It's like it's not funny. It's like you're not smarter than like you're not smart, but it's close enough is. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah. So if you don't already have HBO Max, well, one, get it, and two, definitely give Close Enough a try, because this is some of the best adult animation that you'll see.
Yeah, and no, just watch it. And I know we're being kind of vague with some of the episodes, but it works better when you experience them yourself.
Exactly. We now move on to a Netflix anime, which I didn't realize was based on a pretty long running manga series. Okay, so it's called High Rise Invasion.
Yep.
The plot for this one is high school student Yuri Hanjo finds herself lost in an abnormal space where countless skyscrapers are connected by suspension bridges and masked figures mercilessly slaughter their confused and fleeting victims. To survive in this hellish world, she has two choices: kill the masked figures or be killed. Yuri is determined to survive in order to destroy this irrational world, but what will be her ultimate fate? Um, I'll say this much. Now that I know that this is based off a long running manga, and without totally spoiling the ending, we're definitely getting a second season.
I was about to be like, because I had the wiki next to me, just because it's like, if I felt like, man, if this show is going to have something that I'm going to be kind of confused about, I want to have some information next to me about it, even though the wiki was utterly pointless because it was not good at all. So this is a horror survival pseudo battle royale anime. And I think despite some of its issues, and like I wouldn't say it's going to be like one of the best anime of the season, and I think some people calling it one of the worst are being a touch hyperbolic about it, just because it's like, whoa, I just watched the first episode, worst series ever, and it's just like, no, it's not. You didn't see X Armor redo of Healer. Anyway, so what did you like about this show?
Um, I liked to some extent. Like I like sort of the mystery elements of it. I like how we don't we don't really have like the most clear it like the most clear explanation of where they are. Um, but I think some of the concepts that they introduce is kind of fascinating. How these these masked people are um, are like being manipulated by some sort of higher power. Um, and I like how it kind of the series um, kind of explores the concept of free will. Um, it gets a little bit religious with the whole
Trying to be like a new god and whatnot.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it gets a little bogged down with like, I think it tries to be a little more complex than it really needed to be. I feel like it could have just been this battle royale survival thing instead of trying to be like, we're gonna make the one new god, and it's like, I don't know. I kind of liked it when I was just trying to be pulpy and violent schlock that wasn't really trying to make sense, but just because there's always that danger of making a really high concept elevator pitch and then not executing it well. Archibiate. Um, and I feel like I liked it more when it was doing that, when it was like the more high concept part of just like with the masks and the fact that nobody's on the ground. Like everyone's
Yeah, they're all on on rooftops and like pretty much the top floor of like all of these buildings.
and like despite maybe some of the clunky animation and gratuitous sleazy fan service, it looks like it's at least trying not to take itself too seriously. Like I think that's what's going to save it from like other shows that are trying to be edgy and shocking and high concept, and it's like, oh no, you're taking this. You think all of this is actually good. Like what you're saying is like the next, you know what I mean? The next big thing, and that's just not really what this show is. It's basically a just like a fun, schlocky, pulpy thing, like series. And I will say one of the first stumbling blocks is Yuri Hanjo herself. Not for her like voice acting or anything. Like I think Susie Young does a great job of her, but she is one of the most obnoxious characters.
I only didn't like her in the first episode. But that's because outside of like talking to her brother, she's she's just like by herself. So she doesn't have like anyone to talk to. So most of her dialogue is all in her head. And this is before she really kind of like um grasps like um it's before she really like grabs a hold of like of her surroundings. So um in the context of the episode, yeah, she comes off way more grating, um because her emotions are just all over the place.
Yeah, no, and I mean, like, I get it. It's like you're stuck in this place. There's these people with masks trying to kill one another or each other. Um, and it like it's a little much, but though I will say I think what's her name, Kuon Shinzaki is a lot more annoying. And again, it's not because Stephanie Sheh doesn't do a good job. Stephanie Sheh is a great voice actress. It's more just the character is like a more high pitched Hinata Hyuga, and I'm not just saying that because Stephanie Sheh voices her as well. But it's just like I found her to be more annoying, but it's like she's important to the plot because she can apparently control the big rail gun at like the tallest tower in this place.
Hmm.
I get why she's there, but I found her to be the most irritating.
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said I disagree. Like it's frustrating when there's a like um when there's like like an inverse relationship between how important a character is versus how grating how grating like their performances. And I hold none of that um against the voice actor. It's just that choice that choice is just um it just doesn't work.
You just have to be careful with those kind of characters when you're writing them. And I mean, like, on one hand, I really liked the pulpy action horror elements of it at first. I loved all the different masked people using different weapons, and they all had distinct personality or ways of attacking people. But I think to me, where it got less interesting is when the fact that those people with the masks could take them off. I think it's like I found like the policewoman mask was like who's played greatly by Christina V. Um, I found her to like I think like just the ones who keep wearing the masks are more creepy to me. But then it's like they kind of introduce too many as just like, oh, this one has a saber, this one has brass knuckles or whatever, and it's just like, so I don't know. I guess I would have like maybe preferred it if they just kept those to a minimum, but that's not really what the case is because um Yuri Yuri does not only run into masked people, she runs into other humans. That includes Mayuko Nisei, who I'm sure they're going to be a couple. They keep kind of teasing that kind of relationship, and you can say argue that it's a super close friendship bond.
No,
No,
like the ship teases are
there.
very very apparent.
Yeah, and it's like I wouldn't mind seeing all the other humans also, if a lot of them were more interesting. Because I mean, the show is kind of like The Walking Dead in a lot of ways. A lot of those characters could die right then and there, depending on the situation or what encounter they run into, which is kind of great. But it's also kind of like, they're not going to kill a kid,
Right.
or at least for now, they're not going to kill a kid. And then you come into the mask system. So there are 4 different masks as we know so far. There's smiling masks, angry masks, emotionless masks, and masks with no mouth.
Yep. Those are the ones that bring you closer to God.
And I like kind of the rule system. The ones with the smiling masks are violent. You have to avoid them. They will kill you.
Yeah, I think those ones are the scariest.
And it's like, honestly, when I was watching this show, I was kind of like, I would play this if this was like a weird multiplayer survival horror battle royale where you had to fight other players, or team up with them to fight off the AI controlled psychos. Because I feel like, because it's like it kind of works like a battle royale also, because people have random weapon drops, and there's no real like rule distinction of what weapon they can have. They can either have like more modern weapons or like old school weapons. And then
it seems like a personal choice, like which which characters are using which weapons.
And then with this frowning face masks, or the angry masks, they have a little more intelligence to them. They're not just mindless killing machines. So they can definitely like walk around a little more and be more aware of their surroundings. And then with the motionless masks, they tend to just be like, they'll just get like they're the ones who do the loot drops, the ones where they'll just go around and drop bags full of food and weapons. But then you get to the ones with the masks without mouths. And apparently, if you put one on and you let the mask install itself into your brain and body, you get to control the smiling mask individuals, where you literally become God. Some of the humans in this show are able to control smiling faced killers. What did you think about that, Joyce? Do you think that adds like another threat level, or do you think it kind of like takes like I mean, like, on one hand, I can see how it's like, oh, the mask people are not the biggest threat. It's the humans who can control them that are. But I don't know. I guess I liked it when it was just avoid the mask killers.
Um, I'm of 2 minds with this. On the one hand, I can kind of see where like having people controlling or at least knowing about the people who can control like the masked men, it kind of like it takes the mystery um out of things, and it like um I don't know, I think it like it raises the stakes a little bit too much. But on the other hand, I think it is kind of fun to see like um to see a character like that going mad with power. And it's also fun to hear Johnny Young Bosch playing that kind of villain.
Oh yeah, he's great. I loved Johnny Young Bosch. The voice cast is actually pretty stellar. So no, any of the faults that come with the characters are not at their fault. And I will say I mean, I guess to me, like the situation is that like I like kind of not knowing the mystery of the people behind the masks. But it also kind of seems like they want both depth for the masked killers, but still keep them like as faceless opponents. Like when the Yuri's brother encounters the one with the baseball throw, the guy who tosses cannonballs like baseballs. It's like, man, I wanted to get closer to God, and he mentions a well and whatnot. And it's like, oh, I want to know more about that. And then it's like, oh, he's dead. Okay. And so I've been trying to kind of avoid talking about this, not for any real reason, not like there's nothing too problematic about this show. But this is such a fan servicey show. This thing is
very.
Golly, if we thought the hidden dungeon only I can enter was going to be the epitome, like the top tier of that, this one kind of goes above it. There are panty shots, sexy outfits, galore. It says everywhere. You're not going to avoid them, so you kind of have to roll with that. But I understand if it becomes a bit much. Like I said, the show kind of stays with its tongue-in-cheek kind of humor, but I can understand it being a little much for some people. It kind of depends on how your tolerance level for that stuff. And they even just make the characters be like, oh, Yuri's panties, I recognize them. And it's like, really? Okay.
So, so one of the benefits of this being on Netflix and having the entire season in one go is that it helps that like as long as you're invested in the story, you can push through the problematic stuff. But if you can't, then I completely understand.
No, there's only one scene where it gets almost a little assaulty. When Yuri at the beginning encounters two policemen and one of them goes nuts, and almost makes assaults her, but then the Sniper Mask, who is the best character in the show,
yep,
shoots him down, and and I think what's I kind of agree with you. I think what the saving grace is, I like Yuri and what's her name, Mayuko. Their dynamics, and I think and I like Sniper Mask, who's voiced by Jonah Scott in the English version, and Johnny Young Bosch gets to be kind of a delightfully creepy character. Actually, I think I think like the best crude crass joke of the show is when he's talking to Yaoi Kusakabe, the police mask, and then just lets his head fall on her chest, and he's like, "Oh, this always makes me feel better." And then he's like, "Okay, I'm done. Bye. I'm gonna walk away." And then you see his two henchmen, like these two big buff guys, one with like a rocket launcher and the other with a flamethrower, try to do the same gestures trying to be the two of them. And it's like, okay, this show is kind of aware of how pulpy it is. It's like one of my favorite fun movies to watch is Planet Terror by Robert Rodriguez. It's like that movie is sleazy and like exploitationist, like just pulp.
But it knows exactly what it is.
It knows exactly what it is. And I feel like while not all the way there, I think High Rise knows what it is. And it even has like some dark comedy elements. Like we meet this older male character with a spear who's looking for help, and he was like, "I found these people. They are my family." And then this son of a gun sliced them all down. and then it's like you do end up kind of caring for some of the characters, like this doctor character, and like I said, the dark comedies there. Like when this one the doctor character you meet has this one young girl who's really fast with a samurai sword, and when it's like they think they got her, they realize he can control a second killer mask, and then Yuri just shoots her out of the sky just like that with no fanfare. It's like, oh no. It's a weird mix of a show, and I don't think it fully works, but it works enough until we get to one of the masks that I think kind of breaks it for me a little, is like Angel.
The great Angel.
Yeah, because like on one hand, there's like you meet like a pseudo violent parody of Common Rider, which is Masked Rider. That's why in the dub she's like like Masked Rider mask, like the one who like one punches everyone.
Oh, yep.
But then you meet Great Angel, this weird and interesting character where he starts as a scrawny, like, oh man, what am I going to do? It's like, I'm so wimpy and tiny. And then Johnny Young Bosch's character says 7 words or phrases. And then that little shrimp turns into this hulking, like, if One Punch Man was taken seriously kind of character where he will just screw you up. He, like, this guy, like, I think making a literal Shazam in High Rise Invasion kind of breaks it for me a little. Even though, like, they kind of introduced that anyone who wears the smiling masks have enhanced strength and, like, agility. But I don't know. What did you think about Great Angel as a threat?
I think he works like just well enough as like as like he I don't know. He's actually one of the reasons why I think we're definitely going to get a second season, because I don't think he works as like the final boss. He seems like one of those like one of those early antagonists that like he's really just a muscle that the characters have to fight.
Yeah, and like it's not like I don't like him as a character. I love his dialogue where he's just kind of like, man, that old man went down when I just poked him. or like how he kills the doctor character by just flicking a bullet at him because he caught the bullet from the sniper. And I mean, I don't know. It's like when we get into like superpowers or like I guess like in My Hero Academia's like terms, quirks like that, where literally Great Angel is Shazam because he turns from a wimpy kid to basically Beefcake McMurderface. It gets a little too silly because then it's like he's too. I don't know. It's like I said, I think it gets a little much when they introduce superpowers into this, but I mean, outside of the enhanced strength and speed and whatnot. But in general, I liked this show. I think I can find myself watching it. Like, I'm not going to be anticipating it like 100%, but I can see myself enjoying it. I see myself enjoying it like I see Kengan Ashura, where it's kind of dumb, it's over the top, but I it's like a comfort food kind of show.
Yeah, I enjoyed this. I am looking forward to a second season, which I think we're going to hear about soon. I can't say that with any authority. I just know that there's more to the story that we haven't seen yet.
Oh no, and we haven't even encountered some of the other Killer Masks characters, and we're not entirely sure who is making the masks. And it feels very anticlimactic that Yuri still did not find her brother. Though I will say Yuri and her connection with her brother, like, it's a little too strong of like, I love my brother. Like, it almost kind of tips into slightly incesty kind of things, or I think the term is called emoto, where it's like, I want to be his little sister kind of thing. And it's like, okay, that's a little creepy when you say it, but okay. But
that might be one of the reasons why I'm rooting for Yuri and Mayuko to get together. Just so there's one less problematic element to the series.
Yeah. No, I think let's just if you're looking for just kind of a fun campy time and you're just in the mood for this kind of stuff, I'd watch it. it's on Netflix. What do you got to lose besides
Exactly.
besides time? But I think it's time we talk about so far the best new cartoon of 2021.
Yeah, we're talking about Kid Cosmic. And we apologize that we haven't gotten to this sooner. We've just been busy with other stuff.
Yeah, and then of course the snowstorm in Texas hit, so I was out for a week. So, but anyway, so this is the new show by Craig McCracken, the guy who made Powerpuff Girls, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Wander Over Yonder, and now he's here with Netflix. And to me, along with the upcoming City of Ghosts, and well, who knows when this comes out? It might actually be out by then. Kid Cosmic is an early front runner for the best cartoon of 2021 with its retro art style and its mix of storytelling with fun action and just creative action. And I guess let's talk about the plot a little because I mean that's where we should start.
Yeah, so Kid Cosmic follows Jack Fisher, who voices Kid, a young boy who naively fantasizes about becoming a superhero, living in this vaguely defined desert area in New Mexico. So when a spaceship crashes in the area, he discovers it, and it had on board 5 cosmic stones of power, their version of the Infinity Stones.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that give him the chance of fulfilling his superhero dreams. Upon learning the stones will attract alien invasions, he forms a motley crew of superheroes to defend the Earth from these alien invaders. On this team, we've got like each one has a certain like a different power. So
yeah, like Kid can fly. Joe, a waitress at her mom's diner, can create portals. A young girl named Rosa Flores, can grow giant size, and to La Nina Gigantica. And then we have Papa G, who gains the ability to clone himself. And his hero name is Old Man Mini Men.
I love that. And then there's the cat, tuna sandwich, or the precognitive cat.
Yeah, who can like look into see into the future and whatnot. Well, that's just what it means anyway. And Tuna Sandwich is the best character of the show, just because come on, how can you hate a character named Tuna Sandwich? And he's a chunky boy. So like, what did you think about this show? Like when you first heard about it, and like what are your thoughts overall before we dive into it?
When I first like saw that trailer, I was immediately drawn into the like the character designs, the I want to say kind of grounded approach to superhero storytelling, where it's like these kids aren't really superheroes. They just happen to stumble upon like these stones that give them superhero abilities. But I like how this is kind of a send up to, like those classic pulp sci-fi comics, and classic coming of age stories, like Dennis the Menace or Richie Rich. This is one of those shows that just it wears all of those influences proudly on its sleeves, and yet it's still something fresh and original.
Yeah, no, it's I couldn't have said it better myself. It's a show with many elements, but it all mixes well. And first off, this art style, golly, I love it. And it's like people complain about how all cartoons look the same, even though every decade has had this kind of thing situation. Well, Kid Cosmic looks nothing like any other show out there. I love the thick outlines. I love the old retro style look to the like the backgrounds, the foregrounds, just the characters. Like they might have some modern sensibilities to it, but I can like it doesn't have like the I guess supposed Cartoon Network style. Um,
Oh, like the I'm not going to use that term, but
yeah,
um like some people have described those characters as kind of like the bean face.
yeah, the bean face. Like it doesn't have anything like that with this show. And I will say, and Craig McCracken has had to kind of talk about this on Twitter, was is the animation itself because some people kind not took umbrage with it, but pointed out about the shows like not uh, what's a term to say that it's not sounding negative. It's like herky jerky movements
Hmm.
and not smooth animation. And he had to talk about this because some people were assuming that it's like, oh, you did this to be cheap, and it's like, no, this was a style choice. This was an artistic decision to do this, and that's the thing. I think people or animation fans sometimes get hung up on the fact that it's like it has to be smooth or it's bad. There's things called like artistic decisions, and this like you can talk about like how this doesn't have like the same fluid movements. Well, then you should have been complaining about that with Into the Spider-Verse because people found out about this afterwards. Miles for most of the movie was animated in 12 frames per second, and that's kind of the same mentality here. But I will say what works about it in Kid Cosmic is that the posing is so good.
Oh
I
yeah.
th- I think what this would be a great show to show the to like present at a animations class to talk about character posing and movements because that's basically the thing that it does the best. And because it's like you could tell everyone has their own walk, everyone has their own way of just moving around. Like you can tell everyone like by how they walk and then their pose, their design. Like this is a good show for character design. It's kind of like what I talked about with that Pixar popcorn short, the parallel parking thing, where it's like you get who they are even without them like hearing them talk. And it kind of I like that it kind of evolves with that with the rings. Kid likes like wants to feel like a superhero, so he gets the ring that makes him fly. Joe gets the ring of like the portal creation
Because
because
she
she does.
because she wants nothing more than to leave this town.
And then we get Rosa because she wants to be taken seriously and be a quote unquote big kid. And then we have Papa G who gets the cloning stone. And even though it leads to some of the best dark comedy of the show, um, it represents him having to like take multiple roles for looking after Kid because the show what the show does great with this kind of stuff is that it introduces little story beats into like the background a little. Like when Joe was with Kid in the trailer, she looks around and then looks at a newspaper clipping that says the boys survived like boys' parents were taken in a car accident. And but then it quickly cuts away, but it introduces that element and makes Kid like a more fleshed out character of just like his situation Now, I'm not entirely sure what symbolicness I could find with Tuna Sandwich getting the precognitive powers.
I I, I think it kind of starts off as a joke
Yeah.
um where tuna sandwich can like see the future. Um,
Yeah.
but then they develop that a little bit further, and I like once he gets like the voice modulator and he gets to talk. That
Yeah.
also leads to some of the funnier moments.
By the way, were you expecting Tuna Sandwich to say damn?
On a kids show,
Yeah.
I was not
Like,
expecting that.
yeah. And it's like, I had to turn on the subtitles when I was watching this before its release last month. Well, yeah. Well, 2 months ago now, since it's 157 right now. Um, and I was like, whoa, they actually cursed. I mean, it was just this one time, but it was just kind of caught me off guard. Not in a bad way. It was just interesting, and I'm sure. But the accent is so thick of when Tuna Sandwich gets to talk. Who provide and Fred Tatasciore provides the voice. So it's like it's a little like you can't really hear it, but it was just kind of interesting to hear that. And then of course,
Speaking of the voice cast, this cast is great. We have Jack Fisher as Kid, um, who I think um, he has like just the perfect voice for this character. Um, like young, excitable, but a little naive. Um,
yeah, he's a kid who wants to be a superhero. Like he's going to be excitable and such. And I can understand how that can be a little much, and his character is a little much. But you gotta have to remember, he's a kid.
yeah,
Kids,
he's only like 9 years old.
kids can be vindictive, petty, and just real devilish little individuals, depending on what they do and how they act. So it's like, I don't know. I'm getting kind of tired of people being like, "Oh, this kid's obnoxious. That's a bad thing." And it's like, he's a kid. Kids act like that. Do you
Yeah,
not know that?
um, kids are obnoxious. Like
And
I don't really know what to tell you.
yeah, no. And then we have Amanda C. Miller as Joe, and Amanda C. Miller is great. She's the current voice actress for Sailor Jupiter in the Sailor Moon franchise.
And she's also Boruto in the English dub of Boruto, Naruto Next Generations.
Oh, she's great, and she brings this great energy to Joe, where it's like the angstiness of a teenager who just wants to get the hell out of there, but also the freak outness nature of like dealing with aliens and well, try meditating and having a portal open up where your head is like sky high in the air. It almost gets hit by a plane.
I
And
love
then,
that.
yeah, and then we have Keith Ferguson as Papa G. And Keith Ferguson, man, I keep thinking like, oh, I've seen his range. He's not gonna get any better. Or, well, that sounds terrible. It's like he has a limit. I didn't know this was Keith Ferguson as Papa G at first. And
I thought for like a split second it was either Bill Farmer or Tom Kenny, who we'll talk about in
in a second,
yeah.
uh,
But
um, uh,
no, his range is incredible.
bananas. Yeah, and I just love his like quirky kind of calm, like very collected character of Papa G. And I'm going to use that term, like freaking out, breathe it out, freaking out, breathe it out.
Yeah,
And
I was gonna mention that like that's um like this show has a nice message too. You know, aside from the usual like um you know understand people who are different, or like heroes help, they don't hurt. But that line, freaking out, breathe it out. Um I'll be using that one a lot. Just like I kind of naturally absorbed. What do we got here? What do we got
Oh yeah.
from Tig and Seek?
And by the way, second half of season 1 coming out in March, so we'll be talking about it then. Anyway, and then we got Stuck Chuck, voiced by Tom Kenny, and he turns out to be one of the best and most integral characters to the story. And oh my gosh, I love Tom Kenny. Like, I love Tom Kenny as a voice actor. He's one of my favorites. He's one of the best out there. But sometimes I think he's constantly typecasted to use like an Ice King or a SpongeBob like voice. But here you definitely get to see him juggle a few different voice ranges, from like his like kind of creature kind of voice to like a more like narrator from Powerpuff Girls kind of voice, for like when the voice modulator makes him speak like English. And God, I love Stuck Chuck. I love that like they the first time they encounter him, they basically get his lower half stuck below the trailer, and then he loses that lower half at a later point. Gosh. I mean, like, what did you think of Stuck Chuck
I was not expecting him to be a sympathetic character towards the end, where again he gives up his voice modulator, gives it to Tuna Sandwich, but like, you know, he starts off as he starts off as a villain, then he's kind of like then he's kind of like a hostage to the team. And then he's supposedly rescued by the great leader, only to find out nobody cares about him.
Oh, I felt so bad for him when that happened. And no, and I loved the situations he was put into, like when he was stuck midway in the trailer, where he's just like, when he's trying to change his voice modulator, and you can tell he's trying to say, give me the gems or you die. And he's just like, shut up, give me the gems or you die. And they're like, oh, that's what he's saying. And I love that, like, he gets used to being stuck in there to the point where he's like reading the comics, and he's just like, you know, your hero introduction sucks. Or like when Kid is trying to trip or tie up Rosa, and he goes back into the trailer while Chuck is just reading the comic, and as Kid is taking the chain out, he grabs the chain and then lets go of it, so you can hear Kid crash into something off screen. And I love that he actually like takes reference notes from the comic books, like that he reads, even though he's just like, this is stupid, this is stupid, this is stupid. And then he's just like, as my villain, as a villain line, I would say right now, it would be like, well, what can you do? Or it's like, I can't believe I'm saying this, but get that girl. Like, Craig McCracken knows how to work with character dynamics. I think, like, as much as I love like Gendy Tartakovsky and such, and like how he handles characters, I think Craig and Lauren Faust is also a producer on this show. I think the two of them know how to make chemistry work, like among the characters, and I think that also goes into like the side characters, like Joe's mom and the people at the diner. I love it's the same three people. They're not going anywhere. Well, no, there was that one time Cliff sat over there, and those are crazy days.
This show kind of like, it kind of demonstrates the difference between Gendy and McCracken's like aesthetic. If I recall correctly, I think both of them worked on Dexter's Lab.
Yeah.
But where they differ is Gendy Gendy likes to experiment more in the experimental sort of like atmospheric storytelling that he introduced
Right.
a lot in Samurai Jack.
Yeah.
Whereas McCracken, it's about the characters, and this is but this is the first time that he's incorporated like serialized storytelling, which is perfect for a streaming service. But it also shows how genre savvy he is, because this show doesn't isn't just a send up um of like comic books and like pulpy sci-fi.
Hmm.
They also kind of get a Power Rangers riff
Oh
out of
gosh.
this too.
And shout out to I forgot all the voice actors for those Power Ranger parodies, but I know Phil Lamar.
I got it.
I know Phil Lamar is one of them. So
You got Greg Griffin as
yeah,
Violet Vanish, Eric Bauza as Emerald Wing, Phil Lamar is Golden Swarm, and Michaela Dietz is Blue Behemoth.
nice. And
I also just love the name of their team. It's Earth Force Enforcement Force.
boy, that sounds like someone like lazily translated a Power Rangers or a Sentai Rangers name and just did not think about like, oh, okay, we'll just. It sounds like a bootleg title.
Yep.
And this show is funny. Like it has all of its different kinds of humor. Though I'll say two of my favorite jokes. One is when we get tuna sandwich introduced into more of like the story by the third episode.
And
When it,
everyone's reaction is, "You can talk."
yeah, or but my favorite gag was when he was trying to like, oh no, Kid Cosmic and everyone's gonna die on that ship and it's gonna explode, and you hear this like hard rock play when you see this little chunky cat just running as fast as he can, like down from the diner going down the road, and in the background you hear like da-na-na-na, 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 and then he stops and like lays down for a second and then gets the precognitive vision again, and he gets up, then you hear da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na, da-na-na. And then later on in the show when they have to hide in a diner from those alien attack dogs, when Papa G has to clone himself to like board up the outside.
Oh, I I love that too.
That Papa G and his clones get some of the darkest jokes that I've seen in a cartoon, where it's like anytime he puts a new board up at the diner, that clone dies, and then a new board goes up, that clone dies, and it's just so funny, and it hits fun gets funnier when you know Papa G's personality. So it's just
Mhm.
like, and it just all, but man, like, what else do you like about this show? Like,
I think we covered pretty much pretty much everything. Just um, a lot of what I love about this show is like stuff that we've talked about in, you know, um, Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beasts, in Hilda.
right.
Um, basically, this fits right in with the like the catalog that Netflix is building in terms of their serialized animation.
And yeah, and to be clear, like the show does get dark. It does get a little more story oriented, and I do love the message of like when the aliens come down near the end to try to get the rings back. Um, and it knows how to blend it well, and it just like it's all the stuff that I love about, like, yeah, like you said, Kipo and Age of Wonder Beasts, and they put it into, and like this show kind of carries its spirit in a lot of ways. And yeah, it's just really good. And well, first of all, shout out to Cree Summers as one of the aliens, um,
Mm, yep.
and such. I mean, they're all great. It's just and like Sam Riegel and Eric Bauza, just
And
fan,
Fred Tedashore.
yeah, and and it's just like it's just so good. And there's already a second season that's going to happen, so just watch this show. I know Netflix doesn't do the best at marketing these shows, but just watch it, man. If you haven't for some reason already, just watch it.
Yes. Now, I know this episode's gone a little bit long, so I'll be quick with my recommendations. Not see if the problem with recommending Tom and Jerry shorts is that good luck finding all of them. If you really just want to go back and watch your favorites, just take a minute to browse HBO Max or Boomerang. The one that is my personal favorite is Cat Concerto, the one where Tom is like playing this concert, and Jerry just comes in and messes everything up.
Yeah,
It's basically the Tom and Jerry equivalent of that Bugs Bunny cartoon, Rhapsody Rabbit.
yeah. No, it's one of those shorts that like it really shows like Jerry's kind of a jerk, and that's like that sometimes works against Jerry's favor, but sometimes in like the Cat Concerto, it works. Like that's one of the classics of Tom and Jerry, because especially like if you've seen that video that goes around of the this pianist like going beat by beat of how the piano goes, um for like from the short, like side by side.
Oh
It's
yeah.
it's very impressive. Now for me, I have a few I'd recommend. You actually took one of mine, the Cat Concerto. Um I think one of my favorite ones is like catfishing, where Tom wants to go fishing, but then has to go get past Spike
Mm.
and Jerry. Um, and then though, like some of my favorites are like let's see, there's Jerry's cousin, where you get to meet Jerry's cousin who ends up beating the tar out of Tom. And one of my favorite, like to me, it's like I like it when for some reason I always liked it when Jerry got introduced new family members, because usually that's like that's kind of a played out gimmick, but I always liked watching those. Or like what was that? I think Pecco's Bill or something.
Yep.
No, Pecco's Pest, where it's like it's his uncle, and he keeps breaking guitar strings, but then rips one of Tom's uh, whiskers off. And then there's like Posse Cat. I really like that one. And then Muscle Beach Tom has some of the funnier physical gags. Um, but I mean, or it's either that one or Saltwater Tabby. Um, Usually those are like or if you need like solid Serenade, that one's also pretty iconic. Where
That was the other one I was going to recommend.
oh yeah, you go ahead about that one then.
Pretty much my favorite thing about that is well the scene where Tom is like, you set my soul on fire, or I forget how the whole thing goes, but he ends up doing that whole serenade with like while holding Spike.
Oh gosh, that's always such a great. Spike is kind of underrated from what I've seen. He's like, I always liked his inclusion with the shows. Though another one I'll recommend, just the final one, I'll recommend Timid Tabby, and it's when Tom gets a visit from his, I think, cousin, who's like super timid, but then at the end, it's like one of the few where Jerry actually loses. It's the Bugs Bunny dilemma, where it's like Jerry usually wins all the time, but there are a few where Jerry will absolutely lose.
Yeah, those ones are kind of few and far between, but um, it's fun to once in a while switch up the formula.
Yeah, so I think that's really it for me.
All right, and one last incredibly obvious recommendation. Who Framed Roger Rabbit is literally the best live action animated hybrid.
It's the only good one.
Yeah, if we're being honest.
I mean, I love Detective Pikachu, but even then, some of the story beats fall flat for me. But it almost gets there, but nothing's going to top Roger Rabbit. Nothing's going to top it.
Yeah. So yeah, that'll do it for this episode. We packed a lot into this.
We'll probably split it into two parts, like one for the news and then one with everything else. So just be on the lookout for that. We'll see what happens.
Oh yeah. But before we head out here, Cameron, where can everyone find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at CamsEyeView. I run my own website called camseyeview.biz where I review animated films for a series called The Other Side of Animation. Of course, I'm the co-host here for Renegade Animation, and by the time this comes up, I'll be starting to post small animation editorials from time to time for the website. So be on the lookout for those. I have a Patreon at patreon.com/camseyeview. That's where you can find me.
And you guys can find me on Twitter at CaptainK42. Check out all my quick thought reviews on letterboxd.com/CoachK42. Find me in all the various Facebook groups just at my name. You can check out Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and Twitter at Ren Pop Culture. You can find all our podcasts on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. Over on Brock's channel, Organoid Zero, we're just wrapping up the end of our Gurren Lagann Fresh Takes. And last but not least, everything can be found at renegadepopculture.com. Need an escape? So do we. That'll do it for this installment of Renegade Animation. We will catch you guys later. Peace out.
Bye.